Okay, we're back for our resolution. And this will be the last video because I'm going to walk you through the last 2 or 3 slides. I'm going to, upload the last two as we're going along because I want to give everyone a chance to join back in. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment while I get some other files in order and let people join in, okay? If you have any questions, you can go ahead and post them in this feed, and I'll make sure as we go along that I am answering those questions and getting you the resolution that you need as well. Okay. Now let's look at the actual resolution. Let me refresh that screen so I can actually see it reload. Okay. Okay. Can you see the file of the resolution? With the resolution, you want to make sure you tie everything up with a nice, neat little bow. To save Kala's life, there is a rare mineral on Frasiga's home planet. He provides it to her to save not only her life, but the life of her unborn child as a form of an apology. Risa suggests, with Tao and Kala's approval, that Frasiga takes the replica he left on Calexia Prime of Kala's body for reproduction. Tao knew that it wasn't his sister because the replica that Frasiga left on Calexia wasn't with child. He replicated everything, but he wasn't able to replicate the fact that she had a child growing within her. In exchange for the rare mineral on Frasiga's planet, the Calexians agreed to provide unfertilized eggs to repopulate Frasiga's planet. How's that for a resolution? Well, that's a pretty good resolution. Now, there are some plot holes in there that can be ironed out and worked over so that it makes sense to not only the person writing it, but the person reading it as well. But there are a couple of other points that I really want to make about when you're coming up with your resolution. And this to me is very, very critical when you're doing a story, because just because it's a man and a woman doesn't necessarily make it a romance, okay? And most people think that, oh, it's a man and a woman and they kissed. That doesn't necessarily make it a romance, okay? It could be an action adventure. It can be women's fiction. And I posted a slide for the closing. And if you can, if you're able to pull that up, this is where, when you get to that resolution, the recurring theme throughout the story should also be the story's title. Let me say that again. The recurring theme throughout the story should also be the story's title. Because like with Thursdays in Savannah, he came over on Thursday and he usually spent the night in Savannah. And a lot of people didn't get the title until like, Jesse came over on Thursday. Okay. With Oregon Trails, he made all of those trails along with the little bitty houses in order to, you said that's interesting, that he had all of those little trails that went along beside all of those tiny houses. So each time, see, you wrong for that. So each time that, somebody would go up a trail and they come back down and they've hiked it, they've actually earned like a little badge. With Bluegrass and Bourbon, his nickname was Blue. He loved blue cheese. He was fanatical about his grass, and he loved his bourbon. But the story was also set in Kentucky. Kentucky is famous for its bluegrass and it's bourbon. So I made a little play on words with that, with bluegrass and bourbon. But when I plotted out the Neary brothers, I had to cover all three states, like Buckeye and the Babe. Ohio is the Buckeye state, so Ohio Buckeyes. Um, and Rainy Night in Georgia. Georgia is basically famous for the song by Brooke Benton on Rainy Night in Georgia. And it was really one of those rainy nights that I came up with the title. And so going forward, I started looking at the different states and what's in the states. Like Hawaii will be 8 islands and a pineapple. Nutmeg and something else will be like for the state that makes a bunch of nutmeg. Okay. Hey, Sydney, how you doing, girl? Okay. Now, when we're looking at the title, I'm sorry, I'm a little thirsty. My throat's getting a little dry. When we're looking at the title of this story is The Replica. And Risa's last name, Alciper, is actually replica spelled backwards. I know. And then you can look at creating your cover. So I went ahead and made a mock cover for this, and you see that there's two images of her face. One is, a replication of the last one. Space has never been so sexy. Ready Reader One. I saw Ready Player One and I was like, hey, I like that. Okay. Happily Ever After is a romance. I want to make sure you understand that. Happily Ever After is a romance. Happy for Now is women's fiction. Let me say that again. Happily Ever After is a romance. Happy for Now is women's fiction. Your hero needs a resolution in order to move forward. Your hero requires a sense of victory for him to feel like, I'm a man. I went out, I saw the woman, I grabbed her, I made cave warm. Okay. So does that make sense to you? Okay. So I think we are at 9:53. I got one last slide to post, and that is going to basically do it for us. And I'm going to leave the stream running while I'm talking, because if you have questions, I want you to be able to post them into this feed so that I can answer them before we close it out at 10. I'm going to end the teaching portion at 10, but if you want me to stay on a little bit longer to talk, to chat, to cover anything that we've been over, because I basically gave you a semester's worth of creative writing in 2 hours, basically. So you're saying women's fiction and romance are mutually exclusive. They are so mutually exclusive that the Big Four has stopped publishing romance, and they're really focusing on women's fiction. Women's fiction requires a little more of a literary style, where you're spending a page and a half talking about the yellow wallpaper that's peeling, basically. And you're using all of these descriptors to explain why the wallpaper is peeling. All of the years of Sifa sitting on the couch, exhaling smoke, which has slowly made the paper yellow and the ends curled in anger and anticipation. And you're sitting there going, okay, when are they going to have sex? And you start flipping through the page. But with women's fiction, they may not have sex. They may just get to the door and the door closes. Okay. And you're outside of the door. That could be a sweet romance as well. But with a romance, there's a kiss, there's an argument, there's a fight, there's a secret, there's another kiss, there's a sex scene, there's another kiss, there's another sex scene. Oh, we're gonna get married. No, we can't. We can't get married because you was with my cousin. You're your cousin. And there's the secret, and then the secret is revealed. And I can forgive you. You can forgive me. I can forgive you because I love you. I love you too. Kiss me. Tell me you love me. Heaving bosom, heaving bosom. Oh, take me, make me yours. Oh, we're gonna run away and get married. And you've got your happily ever after. Okay, so what are your questions? I'm going to post a picture of the cover simply because it was just so much fun to make. Who's calling me? Okay, that's my sister. Can't talk to her right now. My sister, Melanie, let me just stop that right there. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm thumbing through all of these files. Now, once we get to the end of this, I have a big, big favor to ask of you as well. And you know, right now I cannot find this cover because I probably didn't download it. And I can't find it. But that's okay. You can see the cover there. You see the cover, the replica. Okay. How long does it take for you to plot a book? Brianna, I always have a notepad with me. I can start plotting a book off the cuff. I can sit down and do it in an evening over a glass of wine and coffee. Plotting a book doesn't take me long because I really focus on how they meet, what the problem is, and how they end. And then from there, I start filling in the gaps based on the timeline. And if it's occurring over a year or over 6 month period of time, I start breaking down that 6 months. Okay. I break it down. Okay. I got 6 chapters here. Okay. Break it down again. What's going to happen in these other 6 chapters? Now I got 12. Okay. Give me 6 more chapters. Now I got 18. And then I can see what is going to have to happen here and there. So if I know I got 18 chapters, midpoint is chapter 9, which should be my climax. So I know that everything needs to really, really build between chapter 3 and chapter 9, because chapter 1 is basically the exposition where I'm introducing her and the situation. Chapter 2 is basically his backstory and her backstory. And chapter 3 is kind of bringing them together and kind of figuring out, how do I get you from there and you to here? And once we're here together, okay, now we have a problem that we have to solve. So there's chapter 4, and chapter 5 is either they're going to build something together or they're going to fix the problem. Chapter 6, everything is going to fall apart. This ain't going to work. You ain't going to work. You getting on my nerves, but I love you. I'm sorry. Love will get us through. And then by chapter 9, there we are at the climax. So from there, I can start doing the falling action. And on the back end of that, if I need to squeeze in another chapter because I need to do something like throw in that plot twist. Oh no, my mama got cancer and I gotta go home. So now I gotta go home with my new white husband and explain to my mama, what you doing with that big old white man? Well, that's what happened to me in college. What you doing with that white boy? So that was kind of hard to explain to my very traditional Southern conservative Black family. But that's Carl. He's majoring in theater, and he knows all about movies, and he showed me my lighting. That's still an ongoing joke with my sister. She still laughs about that. You know, every now and then Carl calls the house and he always want to know how I know it's him because he sounds white. That's why. So anyway. All right. So did I answer your questions? Okay, I answered your question. My laptop just gave up. Okay, so she's back with us. Okay. Do you have a worksheet for your plotting process? I do. I will have to upload it later because right now I'm on my working tablet and I will have to go to the other computer in my office and upload it from there. Okay. But I do have a plotting process. I think I may be able to locate one. Let me see, because I use a modified version of this. So bear with me while I search for it. Okay, let me look at some images. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to do two things at once. I usually keep one close by, and I don't have one today. I'll have to upload it for you later, but I'll do that for you. Okay, I'll make sure I upload that for you. But I basically use that same little triangle diagram, but I have where I have my different plot points where I need to have that big hitter there. And by the time you fill in all of those hashtags, all of those little tags along in there, you have everything that you need for a whole novel or a really, really great novella. Now, I'm going to wrap up because we are at 10:02, and I have a favor to ask of all of you. We are doing a Crossroads Anthology. Me and a bunch of your Black swirl writers. I'm posting the link right here in this feed. We are trying to make New York Times or USA Today. A lot of times when authors make the list, they are a part of another box set of paranormal or murder mystery. For women who write Black women or swirl literature, it's very difficult for us to make a list. I think that we can do this with your help. I just posted the link. Right about now, you'll see that it's just iBooks and Nook. If you have an iPhone, if you have a computer, you can download the iTunes. It's only 99 cents. If we could get everybody in this group to click that link and buy that 99-cent iBooks, you will put us in the window in order to make USA Today and put us on track for New York Times. We can honestly say that if we make the New York Times or if we make USA Today, we made it because of the readers of interracial and swirl romance. We can't do it without you. So I'm hoping with a blind hope that you guys will click that link. If you have Nook, if you have iBooks, if all 375 of you in this group click that link. Rihanna is in the set with us. Phoenix, Laverne Thompson, Kasana, and Sally, Ursula Sinclair, a VV author. There are so many wonderful swirl authors in here, and we really, really need your support in order for us to get there. I don't care if you're planning on later on getting the book in your Kindle or if you plan on getting a hard copy. What I'm asking of you is to help us reach this goal. Tell us that you love us, show your support, spend the 99 cents. Click the book, even if you plan on reading it later on your Kindle, get the Kindle book too. It's $2 to help us reach a goal that we've all been striving to hit individually, but we think collectively that we can do it with your help. So please support us. Click that link, help us reach our goal, and tell us that you love us because we love you. And I hope that I have covered everything that you wanted to know, needed to know, and I hope that you learned something. I am a teacher by trade. I'm a journalist. That's what I went to college for. I've been telling stories all of my life. And I appreciate you allowing me to come here and take 2 hours of your time to tell you my story writing process. I hope you learned something. And don't forget, it's easy to run down the hill and go fill your pockets with the gold. It's also easy to sit outside and wait for somebody else to come out of the cave with their pockets filled and take something from somebody else. But the smart man buys the land. Click the link, buy the land, and we'll see you in the mountaintop. Have a great night.